Hey, church family. I wanted to take this opportunity to present you with another word of encouragement as we continue to pray for the end of this pandemic. Now, if you're ready for some good news, then I'm happy to tell you that it was actually last Friday when the CDC reported that the percentage of deaths attributed to pneumonia and influenza and COVID-19, this percentage of deaths has continually decreased for the past 10 weeks. And as a result of this, we now find ourselves at the epidemic threshold. What does that mean? Well, in other words, if the percentage of coronavirus deaths continues to decrease, then the CDC will no longer call the coronavirus an epidemic. And that's great news, especially in light of the recent spike of infections that we're experiencing here in the state of Texas. As we consider the way that this virus is still spreading, and as we look at that in light of the fact that the fatality rate is decreasing, we can rejoice in knowing that it's only a matter of time until our nation eventually achieves herd immunity, and with that, as more and more people have antibodies against this virus, we will overcome this whole thing. At the same time, I can't help but to wonder if the events of this year, if they're actually setting the stage for the rise of the Antichrist. It was last week when Governor Newsom presented an executive order which banned every Californian from singing songs of praise at their church. Chanting protest slogans in the streets, that's safe and acceptable. But singing songs of praise in a fellowship of faith, this is an unacceptable risk in California. It seems to me like the church in California is being targeted with rules that forbid corporate worship while crowds are allowed to go out into the streets and protest peacefully. It just seems like the church is being targeted to some degree here. It's also interesting to note that Bill Gates is setting the stage for a vaccine which would include a digital mark which would verify and track every vaccinated person. And in light of this, we should ask, how difficult then would it be, for the government to then require every person to receive this digital mark in order to participate in the marketplace? It would be like them saying, hey, you got to have this vaccine or you can't go to work. You got to have this vaccine or you can't go to the store. As we consider the way that so many governors have passed, one executive order after another, it's really not difficult to imagine how easy it would be for the powers who are in charge of our nation to turn around and present an executive order requiring these vaccinations that include digital markers. You should also know that it was last year when Microsoft, they filed a patent application for a cryptocurrency system which will employ body activity data. Now, the patent number for this cryptocurrency system, interestingly enough, it's WO 2020 0060606. Now, if this technology is connected with the vaccine that includes the digital marker, and that's the body activity data necessary to engage in this cryptocurrency system, then we clearly see what are the foundations for the prophecy that John presented in the book of Revelation. It's actually Revelation 13, where John tells us about a world leader who will cause all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their foreheads, and that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him who has understanding calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. His number is 666. Without debate, the stage is clearly being set for the rise of this ruler who we know to be the Antichrist. But before the Antichrist is revealed, I'll remind you, there's first going to be a falling away from the church. And then after a falling away from the church, then the rapture will occur. And with that being the case, I encourage every Christian to just recognize the signs of the times in which we live. We need to recognize the signs of the times so that we might look up and realize that our redemption is drawing near. And with that being the case, I encourage you, let's continue fighting the good fight of faith here in these last days so that we can continue to accomplish the great commission of the Lord Jesus Christ. And let's continue to accomplish this mission until the day we find ourselves caught up to meet the Lord there in the air.